If the ReelAbilities Film Festival were a federal program, Betsy DeVos would definitely be trying to cut its funding. The festival presents international and award-winning films by and about people with disabilities, and it's now in its 11th year. You can catch screenings across New York City, including one right here at BRIC on April 8th, and we're happy it brings the festival's co-founder and New York director, Isaac Zablocki, into the studio. Welcome to 112BK.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me a little bit about the inception of this film festival. Why did you decide to start it?
So obviously I'm connected to this topic in many ways, and I think the most important thing is we have a film this year called Ian, a short film about a kid who's in a wheelchair. It's actually animated. I think he has cerebral palsy, and he cannot access the playground where the other kids are playing. And that is the bottom line for me as far as the importance of everyone being a part and everyone actually having access. And from the film perspective, I'm a film curator and want people to be able to both access films, but also the stories that need to be told. Often the disability community stories are not brought to the mainstream, not even brought to their community and to our community. And so it was I think using film as a tool for social change is something that is really what I dedicate my life to, and there's no better use for it than to be highlighting a community that's kind of been kept in the shadows.
And you yourself identify as a person with a disability, is that right?
That's true. I have a learning disability.
And did you feel, when you were young, perhaps, in mainstream media, did you feel like there were representations of characters that you could identify with in that way?
Definitely not. First of all, as far as representation, every person with a disability is different. Every disability is different, and there's a lack of representation in general. There's, I would say that as a minority group, it's probably the least represented in mainstream media, and yeah, it's definitely harder to find those connections and harder to see role models. And when we do see role models, when we do see actually depictions of people with disabilities on the screen, often they're either villainized or extremes or just not really representing kind of the huge spectrum that exists as far as the community.
So I was very impressed with some of the films that are playing this year and have played in previous years. Films such as The Rider, America is on the schedule this year. And these are both films that played top-tier festivals. I haven't seen America yet, but I hope to catch it at the festival. But I did see The Rider, and I would never have thought of it primarily as a film about a person with a disability. I think it's a very moving portraiture of a community, of a small community in North Dakota, I believe. And I'm curious about how you go about curating your lineup. What types of films are you looking for, and what type of diversity of experience are you looking to present?
My favorite kinds of films are the ones that are, the drama is not the disability itself, but rather there's drama in the story, and disability happens to be included in that and is a part of that and could play in within the drama, actually usually can add a nice little addition to the drama. So we like telling the stories that are more of the day-to-day life.
And we actually have a clip from one of the films that is part of this year's festival. It's actually screening here at BRIC. This is a documentary called Thrive.
He's been on stage with Macy Gray. He's performed for and opened for Stevie Wonder when he was inducted to the Apollo Hall of Fame.
His spirit and his energy was so big that when you first see him, you're not really looking at him like, oh, that's a blind kid. You're looking at him like, who is that person?
Tell us a little bit about this movie.
Thrive tells the story of Matthew Whitaker, who is a young talent. They say he's the next Stevie Wonder or Ray Charles. I'm not sure if I love those comparisons.
Right. Tell me why you might find that problematic.
He's a talented piano player who happens to be blind.
Right.
And I don't know enough about the specifics of the music to say, well, he's definitely talented. I don't know if that makes him into, if every blind piano player is a Ray Charles or a Stevie Wonder.
I mentioned Betsy DeVos briefly in the intro, and I want to bring this back to something a little topical and ask you about her decision. And I believe it actually was the Trump administration pushing her to say that the special education would, or sorry, not special education, that the Special Olympics would not be receiving funding. What was your reaction to that?
How much more can we take? How much? How long is this going to go on? That was definitely one of our reactions. And I know things have been reversed, I believe, at this point. But yeah, the disability community is one that's so often overlooked. And listen, it was not. It's also it goes across the board. The Oscars, when they were diversifying. The Academy Awards, they left out disability as well when they talked about all the minorities that they want to highlight and include. This is 20% of America. This is the only minority group that absolutely anyone can join, and most of us, or many of us, will probably join just as we age and disability happens. Disability does not just mean wheelchair. Disability does not just mean a person who is blind or deaf. And ultimately, it's basically our community, and we have to do better at including this community. The ADA, as the American with Disabilities Act, has implemented laws, and now everything needs to be accessible. I feel part of our job is to create that cultural change that needs to happen.
So tell us a little bit about where people can attend some of these screenings with the ReelAbilities Film Festival.
So to make the festival even more accessible, we run in multiple locations. So we run everywhere from Long Island through Westchester, and we are in every borough of the city, including here in Brooklyn. And we want to see more here in Brooklyn. That's something that's important. And the main location is the Marlene Meyerson JCC Manhattan, which is on the Upper West Side. And there we show absolutely every film.
And we have a screening here at BRIC on April 8th. But if people want to find a screening near them, give us the website.
ReelAbilities.org/New York is where you could find all of our over 25 locations.
Great. Isaac, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.